Now I request His Holiness Shri Swami Sivachidananda Saraswati, Guest of Honor, to kindly deliver his address to our revered modern teachers on the topic Teaching Profession, Its True Dimensions.
Om. O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto Thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent and omniscient. Thou art Sachidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss, absolute. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptations and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, greed, hatred, anger and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold Thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve Thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember Thee. Let us ever sing Thy glories. Let Thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in Thee forever and ever. Let us abide in Thee forever and ever. It's a great pleasure and opportunity for this Sevak to address your noble souls, blessed teachers. My due respects, regards, and love to all of you. In this blessed gathering, I'll share with you all some of my thoughts on the topic, teaching profession, its true dimensions. Teaching profession, like any other profession, has its own duties, roles and responsibilities. First, we will discuss regarding duties of the teachers. Teaching profession has three dimensions. Those are Naitikata or ethical dimension, Yajna or sacrificial or donation dimension, and Yoga or spiritual dimension of performance of the duties of the teachers. We will discuss the ethical dimension of teaching profession first. Ethical dimension. On completion of one's education, he takes up some profession, vocation or occupation in order to earn money for ensuring his physical existence upon this earth plane. Some become businessmen and some take up agriculture and make their independent living. Some other become professionals like doctor, engineer, lawyer, chartered accountant, management executive, teacher, lecturer, etc. and generally seek employment or service at some institution or organization. In service career, one needs to perform its duties or kartabya as is required of him by his employer. In all these professions, vocations or occupations, one ought to perform his duties or kartabya ethically. However, it is observed that in these modern times, there has been severe degeneration in ethical values in human life, and therefore there has been severe deterioration in work culture, and therefore in performance of one's duties in almost all fields of activities in the human society. And in some cases, more particularly in employment of service career, it is generally observed by many that casual and perfunctory approach is taken, or even negligence is displayed by many employees in performance of one's assigned duties. What to speak of performance of duties ethically? This is not at all desirable and not at all beneficial in one's own life, because according to the universal and immutable law of actions, as you sow, so shall you reap. If one performs ethical conduct or righteous actions, it will bestow good results upon him. But if he performs unethical conduct or bad actions, it will yield bad results for him or her. And display of negligence in duties will result in severe and grave bad consequences in one's life, including sorrows, sufferings, failures, poverty, unhappiness, restlessness, etc. For illustrations, if somebody sows a mango seed, there will be a mango tree with sweet mango fruits. But if you sow a neem seed, there will be a neem tree with bitter neem fruits. Nobody can escape this inexorable law of nature. Therefore, one ought to perform his assigned duties ethically so that he reaps good results in his life. This is very important in one's life, more importantly in one's service life. Accordingly, the teachers ought to perform their prescribed or assigned duties in teaching profession ethically, that is perfectly and without negligence. Perfection in duties means performance of one's prescribed or assigned duties skillfully, effectively, efficiently, sincerely, regularly, meticulously, diligently, devoutly, honestly, professional honesty, financial honesty, and administrative honesty, faithfully, etc. And one must never display negligence in performance of his duties in any manner whatsoever. By performance of their duties ethically, the teachers can achieve real success in their professional career and secular life in terms of achievement of true material prosperity and living of life comfortably with legitimate worldly enjoyments, and thus they can derive happiness in life. Our great, glorious, lofty, unique and ideal ancient Indian culture, or Bharatiya Sanskriti, also places great emphasis on performance of kartavya or duties ethically. Such is the necessity, importance and benefits of performance of duties ethically by the teachers. Therefore, it is very wise and also highly advisable that the teachers perform their prescribed or assigned duties always ethically and without negligence in their own interest and for their highest welfare and supreme good. Consequently, the teachers will derive immense benefits for themselves. Simultaneously, the students, the society and the nation also will derive similar benefits. This is the naitic aspect or ethical dimension of teaching profession. Then we will discuss regarding the yajna aspect or sacrificial or donation dimension of teaching profession. Yajna or sacrificial or donation dimension. Before we discuss regarding the yajna aspect or sacrificial or donation dimension of teaching profession, let us listen to what the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, the knowledge part of our holy scripture, that is the Vedas, says. In the 5th chapter, 2nd Brahmana of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is stated that the Devas, gods or celestial beings, Manushya, human beings, and Asuras, demons, the 3 sons of Prajapati, after completion of their Brahmavasa in his place, asked Prajapati to give them some advices. Prajapati exhorted them all the later, thou, and asked if they could understand it. All of them replied that they could understand the meaning of the letter thou. The meaning of the letter thou for the Devas is that they remain ever engrossed in enjoying sense pleasures, and therefore they should practice damana or self-restraint. That is, they should control their sense organs and restrain themselves from enjoying sense pleasures. The meaning of the letter thou for the Manushya, human beings, is that they are greedy and therefore they should give dana, charity or donation or gift in their life. The meaning of the letter thou for the asuras, demons, is that they are cruel, angry and violent, and therefore they should exhibit, show daya, kindness or compassion in their daily conduct. Damana, dana, daya. From the above, it is very clear that human beings ought to give charity or donation or gift, or in other words, they should perform yajna or sacrifice. Human beings also ought to give charity or donation for their own personal benefits, because charity or donation made by them will bestow upon them good results according to the universal and immutable law of actions. That is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Or in other words, if someone performs ethical conduct or righteous actions, it will bestow good results upon him. Charity or donation or gift or yajna or sacrifice is of several kinds, such as material yajna or sacrifice, which is performed with materials like money, food, water, cloth, medicine, and other valuable articles, and the non-material yajna or sacrifice, that is the yajna or sacrifice of knowledge or wisdom. Further, in worship or puja yajna or sacrifice, sacred wood, ghee and charu, one kind of food prepared by mixture of rice, paddy, rashi, til seeds, dry fruits, sugar, ghee, herbs, roots, etc., are offered or sacrificed in the yajna fire. In yajna, jnana yajna, one donates knowledge or wisdom and sacrifices his time, labor and energy in performing the said yajna or sacrifice. In this connection, it is very important to note that our holy scriptures speak very high of and describe the glory of various kinds of charity or donation or yajna or sacrifice, more particularly in this Kali Yuga or the Iron Age. Those holy scriptures also state that amongst all kinds of yajna, the jnana yajna is the highest yajna. Manusmriti speaks very high of the charity or donation or gift of knowledge, jnana dana, or performance of yajna or sacrifice of knowledge. Jnana yajna, it says, Sarveshameva dananang brahmadanang vishishyate yorno gumahi vasa stilaka chana sarpisham. Manusmriti. Among all the types of charities, the donation of Veda, knowledge or teaching is the best. None of the donation like water, food, grain, cow, earth, clothes, jingli, gold or ghee can be equal to donation. Yana sajya prado bharya saishcharya maya pradaha dhanyada saswatam saukhyam brahmado brahmasarsitam. The donor of Veda gets equal to Brahma. Bhagavad Gita also speaks of the superiority of sacrifice of knowledge, jnana yajna, shreyo dravya mayad yajna, jnana yajna paramtapa, sarvam karma akhilang partha, jnane parisamapyate. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 33 verse. The sacrifice of wisdom is superior to the sacrifices with material objects. Our saints and sages also speak of the greatness and glory of charity or donation or gift or sacrifice of knowledge or jnana yajna in the context of gift of spiritual knowledge or the knowledge of the self. Swami Shivananda Saraswati says, as under distribute knowledge, the highest service. The greatest help or service you can do to the world is the imparting or knowledge of the self. Spiritual help is the highest help you can render to mankind. The root cause of human sufferings is ignorance. I underline this line. The root cause of human sufferings is ignorance. If you can remove this ignorance in man, then only can he be eternally happy. That sage who tries to remove the ignorance is the highest benefactor in the world. If you remove the hunger of man by giving food, it is only temporary physical help. It is removal of physical want for 3 hours. Then the hunger again manifests. The man remains in the same miserable state. Building of hospitals, dharmasalas, and kitchens for distribution of free food, clothes, etc. are not the highest kind of help. Miseries are not eradicated. The world will continue to remain in a miserable state even if you build millions of hospitals and feeding places. Get knowledge of the self, distribute knowledge everywhere, and remove the ignorance in man. Then only all kinds of miseries, tribulations, and evils can be completely eliminated. In the same context of gift of spiritual knowledge, Swami Chidananda Saraswati says, as under glory of jnana yajna, there are different kinds of yajna, different kinds of charity. We serve people in different ways. We give money to the poor, we feed them, we give them clothes to wear, we give them medicines and nurse them. All these we do for their physical bodies. After a few years, the physical body will turn to ashes. And the persons whom we served will again be born and suffer the cycle of birth and death Our service helps them only for a short while in a particular birth. Jnana Yajna stands altogether on a different footing. You impart spiritual knowledge to a man. After acquiring this knowledge, he strives for God and acquires mukti. When he gets mukti, he gets everything. He cannot aspire for more. That is why dissemination of spiritual knowledge is rightly considered as the highest yajna. Spiritual knowledge is food for the soul, which is permanent, while the gift of food, etc., nourish only the physical body, which is perishable. All other gifts reach but the passing and perishable aspects of the human being, while the gift of higher spiritual knowledge reaches the inner man, the essential spiritual being within, and makes for an everlasting result. Fruit of Jnana Yajna is indispensable, gives this message. The greatness and glory of charity or donation or gift or sacrifice of secular knowledge, which our teachers impart in schools, colleges and universities, also stand almost in the similar footing. Accordingly, the teachers also, like other people, giving different kinds of charity, ought to give charity or donation or perform yajna or sacrifice of knowledge, while material charity give temporary or perishable benefits, Jnana Yajna gives permanent and imperishable benefits. Therefore, the charity of knowledge or Jnana Yajna is stated as the highest yajna. The teachers have the capacity to teach, ready-made opportunity to teach, and readily available students to whom they can teach. Therefore, they can give the highest charity or donation or gift of knowledge or perform the highest Jnana Yajna or sacrifice through performance of their normal duties of teaching in the schools, colleges and universities where they work. They need not spend any money or material for giving such charity or donation or gift of knowledge to their students. They also need not put any extra labor or perform any extra work in order to give such charity and knowledge. Rather, this kind of charity is inbuilt in performance of their normal duty of teaching. They also need not search for deserving persons, the receivers to whom they can give charity or donation, because the students, the receivers, are already available to them in the schools, colleges and universities where they work. The only thing necessary is that they should consider their normal acts of teaching as their charitable acts or Jnana Yajna. In other words, they should perform their teaching duty with the understanding and inner feeling or bhava that it is their charity or donation or gift or sacrifice of knowledge or Jnana Yajna. Thus, giving the highest charity or donation of knowledge or performing the highest Jnana Yajna or sacrifice of knowledge is very easy for the teachers, and in this way they are very fortunate in this matter. The teachers should perform such charity or donation or gift or sacrifice or Jnana Yajna selflessly and without expectation of any reward or return or fruit. They should note that, notwithstanding their such selflessness and non-expectation, they will surely be rewarded with their due salary from their employers, that is governments or private employers. In this connection, it is our humble feeling and view that the employers of the teachers, that is governments or private employers, ought to pay justifiable, handsome and generous salary to the teachers because they are doing their noble man-making work and also great nation-building work. The teachers should perform such charity or donation or gift or sacrifice of knowledge or jnana yajna for their own personal benefits, because such charity or donation made by them will bestow upon them good results according to the universal and immutable law of actions. That is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Or in other words, if someone performs righteous actions, it will bestow good results upon him. The teachers will derive greatest benefits for themselves by performance of such highest charity or donation or sacrifice or yajna. Simultaneously, the students, the society and the nation will derive immense benefits. Our great, glorious, lofty, unique and ideal ancient Indian culture, or Bharatiya Sanskriti, also places great emphasis on charity or donation or yajna or sacrifice. Such is the necessity, importance and benefits of performance of the highest charity or donation or gift of knowledge, jnana dana, or the highest yajna or sacrifice of knowledge, jnana yajna by the teachers. This is the charity or donation or gift or yajna aspect or sacrificial dimension of teaching profession. Then we will discuss regarding the yoga aspect or spiritual dimension of teaching profession. Yoga or spiritual dimension. In the universe, everything is changing and going through the process of evolution in accordance with the law of nature. The lowest of the creation, that is the inanimate stones and mountains, evolve into living plants and trees. Plants and trees evolve into insects and animals. Insects and animals evolve into human beings, the crown of creation. Then the turn comes for human beings to evolve and transform themselves into divinity, the state of their Creator Himself, and get united or merged with the Creator. This is known as moksha, or liberation of the soul from the cycle of births and deaths, or merger, union of the individual soul with the Supreme Soul. This is also called self-realization or God-realization. On attainment of moksha, the process of evolution gets completed. Consequently, the individual soul gets permanently liberated from the wheel of births and deaths, the greatest bondage, and doesn't take further rebirth in any species of life. Thus, there is permanent end of rebirth, and consequently, there is permanent cessation of worldly sorrows, sufferings, and miseries. Because birth of the individual soul in any species of life upon the earth plane is full of worldly sorrows, sufferings, and miseries. And the individual soul of the human beings gets everlasting happiness and eternal peace. Thus, moksha, as our ancient holy scriptures and our rishis, munis, saints and sages say, is the higher purpose or the supreme goal of human life, for attainment of which only the Creator has gifted this human birth to human beings. This is the true purpose of human life. Therefore, attainment of moksha is supremely necessary and indispensable in the life of the human beings. Our holy scriptures and our saints and sages say that this supreme goal can be achieved through different paths. Just as one can reach Delhi, the state capital, by different paths, such as from Bhubaneswar, Kolkata, Chennai, Mumbai, or by different mode of travel, such as by train, car, aeroplane, so also one can reach the supreme goal of life through different paths. Those paths are paths of yoga and Vedanta. There are various types of yoga, but the most important amongst them are karma yoga, the yoga of action; bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion or love; raja yoga, the yoga of psychic control; and jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge or wisdom. Jnana yoga, the yoga of knowledge or wisdom, is also known as Vedanta. Karma yoga is the yoga of action. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Nahi kyaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit karyate havasah karma sarva prakriti jair gunehi. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Verily, none can ever remain for even a moment without performing action. For everyone is made to act helplessly, indeed, by the qualities born of nature. Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 5th verse. Thus, in the universe, everybody has to perform his actions or karmas. Accordingly, the teachers perform their karmas or actions of imparting of knowledge or teaching to the students. Action or karmas performed with selfishness, expectation and attachment results in deriving of worldly happiness or suffering from sorrows, keeping in view good action or bad action according to the immutable law of action, that is, as you sow, so shall you reap. But actions or karmas performed without selfishness, expectations and attachment, or in other words, actions or karmas when performed as karma yoga lead to attainment of the supreme goal of life or moksha. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, tasmat asakta satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hyacharan karma paramapnoti purusaha. Therefore, without attachment, do thou always perform action which should be done. For by performing action without attachment, man reaches the supreme. Therefore, our holy scriptures and our saints and sages say that actions or karmas or duties ought to be performed as karma yoga or yoga of action in one's own interest and for one's highest welfare and supreme good. Accordingly, the teachers ought to perform their karma or action or duty of teaching as their karma yoga or yoga of action. How the teachers can perform their karma yoga or yoga of action? A teacher can perform his karma yoga or yoga of action by inter alia, performing his karmas or actions or duties as worship of God. That is, with the understanding, attitude and inner feeling that the same is the worship of God. Work is worship dedicated to God. Performing his karmas or actions or duties without any self-interest or performing the same selflessly or performing selfless action. Performing his karmas or actions or duties without attachment or asakti. Performing his karmas or actions or duties without expectation of reward or fruits or phala. Performing his karmas or actions or duties with the feeling as an instrument in the hands of God or with nimitta bhava, without the sense of doership or kartrutva bhava. Performing his karmas or actions or duties without ego or ahankara. Performing his karmas or actions or duties without the sense of enjoyment of the fruits of actions or karma phala bhoga. Surrendering or offering of his karmas or actions or duties and the fruits of actions or karma phala at the altar of God with the feeling of dedication or Ishwararpana bhava. When the teachers thus perform their teaching duties as karma yoga or yoga of action, it leads to attainment of the supreme goal of human life, that is moksha, or liberation of the soul from the cycle of births and deaths, or merger, union of the individual soul with the supreme soul, or self-realization or God realization, for attainment of which only the Creator has gifted this human birth to human beings. This is in their greatest personal interest, highest welfare and supreme good. Our great, glorious, lofty, unique and ideal ancient Indian culture, or Bharatiya Sanskriti also places great emphasis on practice of karma yoga or yoga of action. Such is the necessity, importance and benefits of performance of the teaching duties as karma yoga or yoga of action by the teachers. This is the yoga aspect or spiritual dimension of teaching profession. These three dimensions, that is the naitika or ethical dimension, the yajna or sacrificial dimension, and the yoga or spiritual dimension of teaching profession, are its true dimensions. Right knowledge of these three dimensions will result in creation of right awareness, right understanding and right attitude in the mind of teachers. Right attitude will impel the teachers to perform their teaching duty rightly, ethically, perfectly, devoutly, honestly, faithfully, efficiently and effectively. Consequently, it will bestow upon them a right result, that is, the teachers will get immense good results for themselves in their personal life, both secular as well as spiritual. Also the students will derive immense benefits in their life. In addition, the society, the nation and the world at large will also derive immense benefits. Role. Then we will discuss regarding roles of the teachers as father, friend, philosopher, guide, maker of the students and maker of the nation, father and mother. Father and mother give birth to one's physical body. The father disciplines and administers his children. The mother gives love and affection to her children. They bring up their children well. They give material things and perishable things to their children. The teacher stands in the same footing. He gives a second birth, rather the true birth, by imparting knowledge to his students and removing their ignorance. Thereby he makes knowledgeable true man out of the ignorant physical man. Otherwise, the ignorant physical man will remain as such as he was at the time of his birth. The teacher performs the job of both the father and the mother, that is, he disciplines and administers as well as he gives love and affection to his students. The teacher brings up his students by imparting them right kind of education and also by taking their proper care, nurturing and developing them as true men. He gives knowledge and wisdom, the imperishable thing, to his students. Thus the teachers play the role of both fathers and mothers of their students. Rather, the teachers are the real or true fathers and true mothers of their students, because they give true birth and imperishable real knowledge to them, without which the students will remain as ignorant physical men, waste their most precious, rare human life as animal life, and thus they will live in vain. Friend, philosopher and guide. A friend helps his friends in times of need. Similarly, the teacher is a friend of his students because he extends help to the students like a friend at the time when the latter need his help. The teacher acts like a philosopher by giving advices to his students both in their personal, educational and secular matters, as well as in moral, ethical, religious and spiritual matters. The teacher also acts like a guide by giving guidance to his students both in their personal, educational and other secular matters, as well as in moral, ethical, religious and spiritual matters. Thus the teacher plays the role of a friend, philosopher and guide of his students. Maker of the students. The teacher imparts the teachings to his students on secular subjects such as languages, science, arithmetic, history, geography, social science, political science, medicine, engineering, law, economics, commerce, management, agriculture, veterinary, etc. He also imparts to them moral, ethical, cultural, religious and spiritual teachings. He enlightens them. He gives them knowledge regarding building of their life. With a proper and strong foundation by building good physical health, developing powerful mind, cultivating noble character, performing ethical conduct, observing strict celibacy, and with a complete, proper, strong and nice superstructure of their life, with achievement of all the four grand goals of ideal human life, that is achievement of economic prosperity or artha, fulfillment of vital worldly desires or kama, adherence to religiousness or dharma, and pursuance of spirituality or moksha. He helps them develop an excellent and magnetic personality. He helps in development of their head, heart and soul. He discovers the inner qualities and hidden talents and potentials in his students and guides, inspires and encourages them in their development and unfoldment. He also guides them how to stand on their own legs and how to face the difficulties and challenges of life. Thus he makes his students in that manner and plays the role as the maker of the students. This is of paramount importance. Maker of the nation. The students are the most precious wealth and future citizens of the nation. The whole nation looks upon them as their future hope. In future, they will lead the nation. They will be in charge of the important affairs of the nation, like education, health, economy, agriculture, trade, commerce, industry, defense, etc. They will be responsible for the peace and prosperity, welfare and safety of the people as well as of the nation. They will shape the future destiny of the people and the nation. Thus, the students are the future makers of the nation, and as the teachers are the makers of the students. They are also the makers of the nation, or the makers of the nation. In this connection, one oft-quoted saying comes to my memory, that is, a nation is built within the four walls of the classroom. That means the teachers build the nation by building the students inside the classrooms. Thus, the teachers play the major role as the makers of the nation. This is also of paramount importance. Now, responsibility. Now we'll discuss regarding the responsibilities of the teachers. Man-making responsibility. The responsibility of the teachers is not confined to diligent performance of their assigned or prescribed duties only. It also includes the responsibility of making the students as men in the manner as has been described or stated above. In fact, this is the greatest responsibility of the teachers. This is also a very sensitive responsibility as the teachers deal with the students, the living beings, but not the inanimate things as in other professions. In this connection, it is most worthwhile to note what my holy spiritual master, Swami Sivachidananda Saraswati says to principals and headmasters. Gurudev Swami Shivananda Maharaj says, owing to the influence of dark, antagonistic, materialistic forces, most of the students of the present day have become irreligious. There is no moral culture in them. They have no proper understanding of the principle of brahmacharya and right living. Hence, they suffer much when they come out to face the battles of life. A great onerous duty rests with the teachers and professors in training the students in the path of sadachara, right conduct, and molding their character properly. They themselves should be endowed with ethical perfection, otherwise it will be like the blind leading the blind. Before taking to the profession of a teacher, you should feel the high responsibility of your position on the educational life. Mere intellectual achievement in the art of delivering dry lectures alone will not suffice. This alone will not adorn a professor or a teacher. The students are the future hope and glory of the world. They are bulwark of the state. If they are molded properly, you will be doing the greatest good. This itself is a great yoga for you. You will be doing immense good to them if you introduce some of the religious books for their compulsory study. It will bring moral and spiritual regeneration amongst the youth. It is your duty to explain to the boys the importance of brahmacharya and the evil effects of an immoral life, and to instruct them in the various methods by which they can preserve the vital virya, the soul force that is hidden in them. The future destiny of the world rests with you and your students. If you train them in the right direction, in the right path of righteousness, the world will be filled with ideal citizens, yogins and jivan-muktas who will radiate light, peace, bliss and joy everywhere. Oh dear respected teachers, professors, wake up now. Train the students in the path of brahmacharya, righteousness and morality. Do not neglect the divine work. You are morally responsible for this onerous work. Let them study some religious books on yoga, bhakti, philosophy and Vedanta. Teach them Gita, Ramayana, Bhagavata and other scriptures. Let them know the sublime truths of the ancient rishis and seers. You can have self-realization if you take up this work in right earnest, be true and sincere, open your eyes now. Blessed is he who truly endeavors in making his students true brahmacharyans. Twice blessed is he who tries to become a real brahmachari. May the blessings of the Lord be upon them. Glory to such ideal teachers, professors and students. Responsibility of imparting moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education. In this universe, everything is changing and going through a process of evolution. The lowest of the creation, that is the inanimate stones and mountains, evolve into fertile soil. Fertile soil sustain and evolve into living plants and trees. Plants and trees evolve into insects and animals. Insects and animals evolve into human beings, the crown of creation. Then the turn comes for human beings to evolve and transform themselves into divinity, which is the state of their Creator Himself, and thereby to merge themselves in the Creator or God. With this, the process of evolution gets completed. Attainment of the state of divinity, which is also known as union of the individual soul with the Supreme Soul, or liberation of soul from the cycle of births and deaths, or self-realization or God-realization or moksha, is the supreme grand goal of aspiration of individual human life according to our great, glorious, lofty, unique and ideal ancient Indian culture or Bharatiya Sanskriti. And attainment of such state is possible only in human birth amongst all kinds of living beings upon this earth plane, but in no other species of life. Therefore, our ancient holy scriptures and our rishis, munis, saints, sages, and the great one say that human life is a precious gift of God, created with the higher purpose of enabling the human beings to attain the state of divinity, which only bestows permanent happiness, eternal peace, and spiritual bliss, and which alone results in a permanent cessation of worldly sorrows and miseries in human life, and therefore it ought to be utilized most gainfully when the state of divinity is attained and permanent happiness and eternal peace are derived. Life is said to be successfully lived, completely lived, purposefully lived, truly lived, worthily lived, happily lived, peacefully lived. Then only human life is said to be ideally lived. Thus only this rare and precious gift of human birth given to us by God is wisely and gainfully utilized. The human beings have a mixture of animal instincts, human qualities, and divine faculties. In the process of their evolution, they are according to transform themselves into divinity, into perfection by shedding their animal instincts like lust, anger, greed, fear, hatred, pride, jealousy, selfishness, developing moral and ethical values, and human qualities like non-violence, selflessness, tolerance, courage, goodwill, fellowship, brotherhood, doing good to others, or paropakara, etc., and unfolding their latent divine faculties like truthfulness. Thereby they can make endeavors to attain self-realization or God-realization, the state of divinity, the state of perfection. The process of transformation of the human beings into the state of divinity as stated above requires knowledge to be derived through education. Further, God has endowed the human beings the crown of His creation with a special faculty, that is the power of intellect. This power of intellect enables the human beings to think and discriminate between right and wrong. God has also granted complete independence to human beings in the spheres of their thinking and actions. With such independence, the human beings can choose between right and wrong and then think, decide and act accordingly. Right action yields good results, leading to happiness and peace in their life, and wrong action brings about bad consequences, resulting in miseries, sorrows and unrest in their life according to the inexorable law of action or karma, that is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Therefore, it is necessary for the human beings to use the power of intellect, the power of discrimination, and to know what is right and what is wrong. The learning of the knowledge about the science of actions and the knowledge about discriminating between what is right and what is wrong, and then to choose to take right action as stated above, also requires education for the human beings. Acquiring knowledge for the above two purposes constitutes the primary need for education of human beings. Education for these two purposes is the real education or true education, and such education can be derived in the form of moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education. Moral, ethical, religious and spiritual education is called value education. This is character building, life building and man-making education. Such education is not imparted in the modern schools, colleges, universities and other educational institutions of our country, unlike in the ancient time. Simultaneous with the process of their transformation, the human beings have to live in this earth plane for some period. During their lifespan in this earth plane, they need to survive by maintaining their physical body. For survival of their physical body as well as to meet their individual family and social needs of spiritual, secular nature, they need to earn money by taking to some income generating activities. The learning of earning money through such activities also requires knowledge. For acquiring such knowledge also, the human beings need education. Accordingly, knowledge for the purpose constitutes the secondary need for education of human beings. Education for this purpose is called the secular education. Such education only is being imparted in the modern schools, colleges, universities and other educational institutions of our country. This, in short, is the need for education for human beings. This is the real or true education. This is the complete education. Without education, the human beings, as stated in our holy scriptures and by our rishis, munis, saints and sages, live a life similar to that of animal that is taking birth, searching for food, eating, sleeping, procreating, enjoying, fearing, suffering, and one day meeting with death. By living such an animal life, human birth, the precious gift of God, is wasted, and the highest purpose of human life is not achieved. Therefore, education, the real or true education, the complete education is a basic necessity of human beings like food, clothing, house, medicine, etc., and is most vital in human life. Therefore, the teachers need to impart to their students spiritual education, that is moral, ethical, religious, non-sectarian and non-dogmatic, and spiritual education also, and education on celibacy informally as extra curriculum study beyond school hours, till such education is restored in the schools, colleges and universities by the governments and the private owners of educational institutions. Such informal education is very effective. In this connection, it is most worthwhile to note what my holy master, spiritual master, Swami Sivachidananda Saraswati says. Education and self-unfoldment. In fact, I feel that spiritual education outside the classroom will produce better result than those within. Of course, the curriculum should include spiritual education. Within the classroom, it tends to pass from the ear to the examination paper without even becoming part of one's inner being. This is not so when the student is taught to prepare for the perpetual examination of life itself. The latter method will have a profound effect on the personality and day-to-day life of the youth. Imparting of spiritual education informally is in the larger interest of our students and also in the larger interest of our culture, our society and our nation. This is extremely important. Therefore, in the present scenario, this is also their great responsibility, nation-making responsibility. A nation is made more of its people, the human resources, than its vast geographical land, huge economic reaches, great military power, numerous technological developments, several scientific advances, and such other resources. Therefore, as discussed earlier, students of nations need to be built as good people. Further, ours is a democratic country. The country is made by the people, it is of the people, and it is for the people. As such, it is the responsibility of each person to make his individual contribution in building of the nation. Therefore, it is also the responsibility, rather the greatest responsibility of the teachers to make the nation in the manner as has been described above, by making their students. This is a great nation rebuilding measure. A few more important points. Incidentally, I would like to touch a few more important points regarding teaching profession. The role and responsibility of other professionals is almost singular, but that of the teachers are multifarious, as discussed earlier. The teachers are not only the teachers, but they are also the fathers, mothers, friends, philosophers, and guides, the all-in-one of the students. They are also the makers of the students and also the makers of the nations. Their duty is teaching and their responsibility is man-making and nation-building. And in order that they perform their duties perfectly, play their roles efficiently, and discharge their responsibilities effectively, they should keep the following important points always in their minds, which are of vital importance for them. Teaching profession is not a commercial profession when compared with other professions. Rather, it is a noble profession. It is considered as so because of two most important reasons. The first reason is that while in other professions the employees keep commercial articles and render their personal services with a view to earning money. But in teaching profession, the teachers keep the attitude of charity or donation or sacrifice and perform their personal services as charity of knowledge or jnana yajna or sacrifice of knowledge, notwithstanding the fact that they also, like other professionals, earn money by way of periodical salary. Also, charity of knowledge is regarded in our holy scriptures as the highest amongst various kinds of charity. Therefore, teaching is a sacred work. The second reason is that while in other professions one prepares or produces or manufactures inanimate things or inanimate goods, in teaching profession the teachers make the life of the living beings or the students the precious living gifts of the Almighty Supreme Lord by building them as good human beings with noble character, making the life of the students. Thus is indeed a noble work. Teachers can make the life of the students not only by imparting teachings to them on moral, ethical, religious and spiritual lessons, but also by living themselves an ideal life with noble character, ethical conduct, righteousness and spirituality. Students listen to the teachers and the good advices of their teachers, but more than that, they observe the very conduct and the very way of living of their teachers, get inspired and encouraged by the same, and then they emulate all their good qualities. In this connection, it is most worthwhile to note what my holy spiritual master, Swami Shivananda Saraswati says. Exemplary teachers wanted. Exemplary teachers wanted. It is important that the professors, teachers and staff of such educational institutions also need to acquire a personal knowledge of and observe the true spirit of the ethical and spiritual ideals of our great culture. These teachers and professors have constant and continuous contact with their students. It is imperative, therefore, that they personally constitute ideal exemplars of the way of life which they wish the students to follow. They must, to some extent, personally in their own lives, the virtues and ideals which they wish their students to acquire and to grow into. If this is lacking, the students have poor examples to follow, and it is natural that they should fail to imbibe anything noble and sublime in their college career. Just as in the home, the example of the parents exerts a decisive influence upon the molding of a child's personality, so also the example of the teacher exerts an unmistakable influence upon the personality of the student. If the book imparts information to the students, the personal example of the teacher imparts life to the teachings contained therein. It is most essential that the educational world recognizes the deep and far-reaching significance of what has just been stated. It holds the seeds of the ultimate welfare of the whole student world. Thus, the ideal personal life of the teachers exerts great influence on the students. As such, teaching by living is the right, best and effective method of teaching, and then only the students will accept and follow the same. This point is of tremendous importance for the teachers. In this connection, the case of a mother seeking advices from Paramahansa Ramakrishna for her son comes to my mind. A mother with her son who was eating good too much met Paramahansa Ramakrishna, stated the matter and requested him to give advices to the son so that he will not eat too much good. Paramahansa Ramakrishna told them to come after 15 days. After 15 days, when they met Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he again told them to come after 15 days. This was repeated another time, and when they came next time, Paramahansa Ramakrishna told the boy not to take too much good, and the boy obeyed it. The mother asked Paramahansa Ramakrishna as to why he did not give the said advice to her son in the first time itself. Paramahansa Ramakrishna replied that he himself was taking good, and unless he stopped taking good, neither he can advise the boy to stop taking good, nor his advice would have any effect on the boy. Therefore, he first practiced to stop taking good for 15 days, but failed. He repeated his practice, but this time also he failed. Then during the next 15 days, he did not take any good, and then only he advised the boy not to take too much good, and then only his advice became effective on the boy. Thus, advice or teaching becomes effective upon others only when it is practiced by oneself in his own life. Therefore, the teachers themselves need to live an ideal life with noble character, ethical conduct, righteousness, and spirituality, and thus set the good example and become a role model before their students, and then the students will accept and follow their advices. In this manner, the teachers can make the life of their students. Thus, first live by oneself and then teach the students. Or in other words, first practice in own life and then preach to the students ought to be the motto of the teachers. Ethical performance of duties by the teachers has its great consequences upon the life of the students in comparison to that in other services or other jobs. In administrative services or commercial services or industrial services, the employees and officials deal with inanimate things like preparing letters, notes, memorandum, producing or manufacturing goods, etc. Imperfect performance of duties by them may result in monetary loss of or financial damage to the inanimate things. Such losses or damages can be repaired, and the letters, notes, memorandum, or the goods can be made afresh. But in teaching profession, the teachers deal with animate human beings. Imperfection or negligence displayed in performance of duties by the teachers will not result in removal of ignorance in the students, and the students will remain ignorant as they were at the time of their birth. The students cannot be made man by the teachers due to imperfection or negligence displayed in imparting of right kind of education, and consequently the students, the living beings, will suffer permanent damages and irreparable losses in their life. Such damages or losses cannot be repaired or made good. Further, as a sequel to the damages or losses in the life of the students, the entire society and the whole nation will also suffer permanently, because the students are the future members of the society and the future citizens of the nation. Such is the grave consequences of imperfection or negligence displayed in performance of duties by the teachers on the life of the students and on the society and on the nation. Hence, ethical performance of duties by the teachers is of utmost importance. Another important point, rather most important point in teaching profession is one's aptitude towards imparting of teachings. Some teachers take to the teaching profession by choice. That is, they have inborn aptitude, pravrutti for teaching, and it is their inborn nature, shobhava, to impart teachings. They have passion for teaching, they like and love teaching work very much. Therefore, they prefer teaching profession and they get employment as teachers. Such teachers take a great interest in imparting of teaching to the students. They love their profession, love their subjects, and love their students. They love to teach, hence they dedicate their time, energy, mind and everything to teaching work. Teach the students with missionary zeal and give their head, heart and soul to teaching work and make their greatest endeavors to teach their best and give their best to the students. Their teaching become enlightening and lively. Such teachers get job satisfaction, enjoy their job and derive immense pleasure from their teaching work. The students in their turn derive immense benefits from the teachings of such teachers. Other teachers come to the teaching profession perforce or under compulsion, that is, they could not get employment in other professions, but got employment as teachers in their efforts to secure some employment. Thus they come to teaching profession as a matter of employment, vritti. Such teachers teach their students generally in a mechanical or routine or perfunctory manner. Their teachings generally become dry. They generally do not get job satisfaction, cannot enjoy their teaching work, and do not derive pleasure from the teaching profession. And the students do not get quality teachings from such teachers, and their teachings are found to be not enjoyable, pleasant and lively. Such teachers ought to cultivate and develop aptitude for imparting of teaching to the students, so that they themselves will derive happiness and pleasure from their teaching profession, and also their students will derive great benefits from their teachings. The teachers ought to remember to remain as a student forever. They ought to keep up the learning spirit of a student throughout their teaching profession, and they ought to always keep on acquiring more and more knowledge on their own subjects and also other subjects from different sources. Thereby, they can keep on enriching themselves and enhancing their job knowledge continuously, and also they will be in a position to give the best to their students. Learn more and share more. ought to be their motto. The teachers ought to keep on developing their teaching competence, that is subject knowledge, teaching skill, teaching method, teaching style, etc., by inter alia, continuously acquiring more and more knowledge, improvements and developments on the subject of teaching, undergoing periodicals, training programs, refresher courses, and reorientation sessions, by observing the methods of teaching of other successful teachers, by studying books on the subject of good teaching, etc. As a result, the teachers themselves will derive job satisfaction and the resultant happiness. And the students will get enlightened teachings and superior quality of subject contents. Also, listening to the teachings of such teachers will be very much enjoyable, pleasant, effective, and acceptable for the students. Conclusion. Lastly, the teachers may kindly consider to perform their teaching duties and discharge their roles and responsibilities in the aforesaid manner. This may appear to them to be impossible in the first instance and in the present conditions, but it is never impossible, although it may be found a little bit difficult in the beginning. But after right understanding of the nature, duties, roles and responsibilities in teaching profession, and by having firm conviction, strong desire, great willingness and deep interest, and by worthily devoting a little more time, it will be possible for them to do so. If they keep on trying their level best, sincerely, determinedly, committedly, devoutly, positively, and perseveringly, they are bound to be successful in their endeavors. This is for their greatest good and also the greatest good of the students, the society, and the nation, and the world. And in conclusion, I offer my humble, earnest, fervent prayer to the Almighty Supreme Lord to bestow upon you all His choicest blessings for achieving all-round success in your noble teaching profession. God bless you all.